It's time for Tip Tuesdays with Dr. Shanna Grant.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. I am Dr. Shanna Grant, CEO and founder of Sharp Sessions. And Sharp Sessions is a math supplementary tutoring company that provides support for teachers and students. Now, today what we're going to talk about, we've been talking about SAT prep for a while now. So what we're going to do is kind of wrap it up and talk about the complete application package, right? And of course, we're doing all of this because we are very passionate about students going to college debt-free. And so going to college debt-free means you must have the complete scholarship application package, right? Or just in general, a scholarship package. Okay, so the first thing is, of course, you need to complete the application. So you have to go online and complete your actual application for admission, right? But we also say that when you apply for admissions to any university or any institution, you want to make sure you also call in the admissions office or the recruiters, right? And asking them, well, are there any internal scholarships that we can apply to? Like, for instance, I am the director of a scholarship that really you have to really know the ins and outs, right? We go out and we recruit, but it's not like on the main page. It's not on the main website, and it's geared towards mathematics majors. So you definitely have to call the institution and say, hey, are there any internal scholarships that I can apply for? I really want to come to your institution. Please assist me or give me some tips, right? So so it starts by completing the applications. And this is your general admission application as well as your scholarship applications, right? Now, when you're completing these applications, there are going to be some attachments that you're going to have to give, right? For one, you're going to have to do the favorite. Everybody hates these. Well, maybe not everybody, but I know I did. The essays. So there are so many essays depending on how many schools you're applying for and the type of schools you're applying for, right? So if you're applying for those Ivy League top-notch schools, be prepared to write at least minimum 2 to 3 essays. There may be 4. There may be way more, but you definitely want to be prepared to write essays, right? But most times, if you have a general personal statement or statement of interest, these things can really guide you as to what to write. But some of them have situational essays that you have to explain a time where you did this, like an interview, right? So you want to be prepared to do writing essays. And so I believe in our last video, we did talk about parents doing investing in their child's future, their child's education, right? Especially if their child is trying to go to college or university. And so we definitely stress that you want to invest, right? And so these essays are not easy to write. and you know, even if you're a good English student or a lit student, this is not an easy task. And so there are experts out there, and we strongly suggest that parents or teachers or students that you definitely, well, not teachers, but parents and students, that you definitely seek help for these things, right? So for the essays, you have a lot of college prep professionals who do this for a living. They know what the recruiters are looking for. They know what the admission officers are looking for. So you want to make sure you're going in and getting those assistants that you need for your college prep essays, okay? Also, of course, test prep, right? And that's what we specialize in. And so particularly we do the SAT prep. We also do ACT, but that's one-on-one. But we have multiple services. We have our on-demand course. We have our, of course, our regular SAT prep course. We have our crash course. We have our own workbook. We specialize in SAT, if you can't tell, and we also do one-on-one tutoring. But you know, a lot of times parents get confused about the SAT. Is it needed? Does my child need to do this? Like, is it really needed? And we strongly recommend it. Better to have it and not need it than for it to be a deciding factor where the directors, for instance, I'm sitting around the table and I'm looking and I'm like, well, okay, there's 2 students, they like are so neck and neck. what can set them apart? Please believe the SAT tells us that students are ready for college. You're college ready. So if we have that on file, that may give you a little edge. So it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? And make sure you're prepping for that too. Okay. Now there's one thing too that we want to make sure we address. When you're going through, they may not specify this. I don't think every college requires you to do this, but FAFSA, do your financial aid, your application for free financial aid. You really want to do this because some scholarships also are dependent on your expected family contribution, right? Your EFC. And so FAFSA, you have to do that in order for you to qualify for those scholarships. And so you don't want it to be a case, again, you need your FAFSA. For my scholarship, you do, and you can't, and you don't have it. We have to like hunt down students. Hey, did you complete your FAFSA? No, we don't have time for that, especially if the pool is so slim and students are so competitive these days. You want to make sure you have everything, all your ducks in a row. So you go to FAFSA.gov, I believe, and complete your FAFSA. It's free. It's just to show, okay, what's your expected family contribution, and then it also can qualify you for different scholarships or Pell, depending on the state that you're in. In Georgia, we call it Pell. I'm not sure what other states call it, but you definitely want to make sure you're completing your financial aid. Okay. Of course, you're going to need to do recommendation letters. Well, you're not going to do them. And so you're going to get these from either your teachers, or somebody in your church, somebody who you've done community service with. This is very important. Somebody who you've done community service with, you definitely want to make sure you're thinking about at least 3 persons to write your letter of recommendation, because these are going to be inevitable. So your letters of recommendation are very essential. You want to make sure you're also giving the persons who are writing these letters of recommendation enough time to do it. Okay, so you want to give them, like, let's say the deadline. Your deadline should be earlier than the actual deadline. So for instance, if your applications are due October 15th, you want to say, oh, my application is due October 1st. Can you write me a letter of recommendation? But you have to at least get them on by August or so, September the latest, because teachers are busy. Everybody's busy. So you want to make sure you're giving them enough time to write the letters of recommendation. And then lastly, you're going to be asked for your transcript. Some may say they want an official transcript, and what this is like you just print out, or you can photocopy your transcript. But most may say, no, I need an official copy. That is to make sure that it's not altered or you didn't put the grades in on your own. So you'll have to order that from your high school to be sent. This can be done electronically or via mail, USPS or UPS, whichever way. So you want to make sure that you are in fact getting those letters of those transcripts ready for sending off. All right, so let's do a quick recap of what it is that you need, at least the minimum. There may be more things to make sure you have a complete scholarship ready college application. So of course, first you need to make sure you do the application, right? And you want to seek out whatever other scholarship applications are out there. Make sure it's complete. You want to also make sure that you have your test scores, right? Whether that's ACT, SAT, and all those type of things. You want to make sure you have your essays ready. And these essays, you should be starting them like 11th grade, really, but this is for another video. Your essays, you also want to make sure you have your letters of recommendation, right? And you want to have your FAFSA, right? Make sure you complete your financial aid application. And lastly, be prepared to send off your transcripts. All right, well, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining in. And of course, definitely like, share, or subscribe. Well, do all 3, right? Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.